Good day, everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Old Men Talking. I'm your host, Karma Love. I'm here with my panelists, Roger Hanson, aka Chocolate Thunder, as well as John Clark. Good day, everyone. How are you guys?
All
Yeah,
right.
good. Good, thank you.
That's you guys ready for today?
Yes, we.
Yeah,
I am.
yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. So, what we're going to be talking about today, well, just in general, just for gist of the show, what it is it's called Old Men Talking, and we're just discussing some of the transitions, transformation, things that happen as we begin to ascend and as we become more experienced within life. So, what John and Roger are going to do, they're going to just talk to us about some of their experiences, different type of people as well that have experience as we age, because we tend to think that as we get older, or excuse me, riper, as I like to say, that things kind of slow down. So, our topic today is what's actually over the hill. So, over the hill is thought to be maybe, well, we're old now and stuff is slowing down. But if you think about it, when you're going down a hill, like once you get over a hill and you start to go down it, stuff starts to pick up a little bit more rapidly. So you learn better. You are what type of stuff we focus on, what becomes our priorities. Like things change, but does not necessarily mean it actually slows down. So I'm not sure who'd like to talk first about the experience. John has a very let me just introduce both. We have Roger, who has his live with Roger Hanson, and he does gaming with Infamous. He they're both very talented show hosts, as well as very experienced with the public in regards to just communications and presentation. John has an amazing. Oh, John, that's the normal alarm, excuse me. John has an amazing station called Wonderful World of Weirdness, where he talks about spirituality, different encounters, just things that are less dominant or at least less communicated. So I'm unsure who'd like to start. Roger, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, and then John, you can go, or vice versa, whoever.
I think John should go first.
Okie dokie. John, do you mind?
Cheers.
He's like on the spot, am I?
Right, what do you want to? Right.
Just
Well, when I was
introduce
young,
yourself in regards to like your station and just the stuff that you're doing currently now at this
yeah,
point in your
okay.
life. Hmm.
Well, first of all, um, about the subject over the hill. When I was like a teenager, and I saw someone who was 35, 40, I thought they were old. I thought, oh, they're old. They're old. But obviously, as you get older yourself, you can think, oh, 35 is not that old. 40 is not that old. And then you get your 50s, you think, oh, maybe I am starting to get old now. So you and your body sometimes gets a bit more worn out because you've had 50 years on the earth and you've been doing various things and what have you. But I wouldn't change myself for the world because, as you said, you're ascending as you get older. You get more wiser. You're learning more. Um, I'm learning by the day, and I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm as you've mentioned about my channel. I started that. I was the age 51 when I started it, and by the before I was 53, I had over 100,000 subscribers. Now they say YouTube is a youngster's game, and yes, if you want to go on there and be stupid, as a lot of them are, these YouTubers are, the way they behave and stuff. That's what you want to do. That's your call. That's fine. But I did it just doing what I was led to do, and so it just shows I might be deemed as over the hill, but here I am at 58, and I've got 4 channels with over 1,000 subs. So yeah, I'm not so over the hill as maybe some people would think. But just saying, society's eyes, yes, you're over the hill. What are you doing? Why you got a game channel? Why are you making videos at your age? That's all I've had in the past. I said, well, because I am, and I enjoy it, and I made a success out of it, and I will continue making a success out of it. And it's just people's perspectives. I can't even say it. Perspectives. That's so wrong. They look at old age as, oh no, you can't. You could put you off the pasture now. You can't do this now anymore. You can't do that anymore. And it's just so wrong, because okay, physically you might not be. I might not be able to do things I could do 20 years ago. No, maybe I can't. But mentally, I'm probably sharper than I've ever been. So there we go. It's my view on it.
Absolutely. Now, I'd like to elaborate on some points you made, but first, I'd rather have Roger to introduce himself as well first.
Okay, my name's Roger Hanson. Like you said, I have my live streaming with Roger Hanson that I do 7 days a week. Got this one that's coming out on Tuesday. It's going to be my 8th video for the week, and that's going to be 2 for today. One in the morning and then one in the afternoon, and then we're coming out with another one which is supposed to be more current event and current events, politics, stuff like that. That's going to be on Thursday. It's going to be a morning show too. I usually post a schedule for that on my profile on minds.com, and it's on my live chat, my live with Roger Hanson chat. Besides that, I'm on Odyssey, Rumble, Minds.com, YouTube. It used to be on Facebook, but I got rid of that. John got upset with me about that because now he's got people that I should talk to on Facebook, but I ain't got no way of communicating with them. But the reason why I did that was because of just crazy stuff that's going on with Facebook right now. So, but other than that, I also have BitChute, which mysteriously has videos uploading on it that I never realized was uploading on it. And we were on a show with Jeffy Ryder where he was saying the same thing happened to him, so that was kind of weird. I've been doing this, I don't know, give or take 12 years. I know it was just short of what John was doing on Facebook. Actually, he is the one who actually got me started in the strange and bizarre and the unusual stuff. That's actually what my old channel name was. It was Strange, the Bizarre, and the Unusual. I like it. But I figured out that was too long, so I dropped it down to Strange Stories. I've got 5 channels on YouTube: Strange Stories, The Praetorian, Storyteller, Gaming with Infamous, and there's another one. I just can't remember. Oh, and Working with Audio and Video. And then my main channel. But that's basically what I do on YouTube. Like I said, I started about roughly 12 years ago with Facebook, believe it or not. I was sharing other people's stuff, and somewhere down the road I met John. We were talking about it in the interview he did with me, and believe it or not, we don't even remember the first time we met. It's been that long ago. So it's like we've known each other forever, but I just can't remember the first time we actually met. I think that's kind of cool. So if I'm over the hill and that's the reason why I can't remember, I'm fine with it, you know what I mean? Because at least I got to meet some cool people. You know, when it comes to being over the hill, to be honest with you, I mean, I'll freaking outrock any of these new kids, man. They listen to a bunch of freaking horrible music. I mean, it's like I have to lower myself down to their level and listen to like these horrible freaking songs, dude. Like it's all synthesizers, you know what I'm saying? It's like freaking, I listen to real music, you know, and like anybody that freaking wants to talk about music to me, man, I can listen to music that's louder and faster than anything a freaking 20-year-old kid will even tolerate listening to. So when I was growing up, it was my parents telling me, look, Roger, you need to turn the music down. Now that I'm older, I've got the kids looking at me saying, look, Uncle Roger, turn the music down. So I think I'm doing good. Everybody else is regressing. They're the ones going backwards, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much how I feel about whenever it comes to getting older. Now I do have like problems with my knees and stuff like that, you know. That's, you sit down the wrong way, your knees freaking buckle up, so you gotta figure out how to stand up straight so your knee will pop into socket and stuff like that, you know. But I think I'm doing a lot better than most people my age. I think that's the strangest part. Like a lot of my sisters, they're falling apart. My older sister, she's like a year older than I am. She's having issues. But my little sister, she's like 4 years younger than me and having arthritis and shit. You know, I'm like, wow, really? So that's the strange part about it. But that's about it.
I think it's interesting that it's an automatic, like, misconception that as we begin to ascend within our experiences here on life, because I don't like to call it like old. The name of the show, first of all, Roger and John picked out the name of the show, which was fine, but we could have been ripened with age, or you know, because if we remember now, wine only becomes delicious the longer it sits. It only gets its flavor and it gets to be more expensive as it begins to quote unquote age. And I mean, just to be fair about it. Also, too, just how when you guys are like, yeah, a lot of people think that when you do YouTube, you're supposed to be like a certain age and stuff like that. But if we're being fair, how John said, a lot of people that are of a younger age, when they're on YouTube, some of the stuff they do in order to gain popularity and notoriety is ridiculous. They'll completely make a fool of themselves. They'll make a fool out of other people. And I mean, it might be entertaining to an extent, depending on perspective. But if you would like to look at it on an overall scale of longevity and lucrativeness, we're not going to watch that later on. We're not going to say, oh, wow, this is so cool. And it'll get to a point to where they'll have to show their kids, or their kids will look and be like, whoa, what were you doing? And then now, how do you convince those children not to follow in your footsteps? No, I was young and stupid. Well, I'm young and stupid, Dad. I want to do it too. And it's just like, no. So one thing I really respect, like John was saying, he has a massive amount of subscribers and they're loyal, because John took a break, and you can correct me if I'm incorrect, but John took a little break from streaming. And in the process of him taking a break, he was very missed. And when he came back, everyone was so excited to see that he was back active again. Now, would you like to tell us a little bit about the reason you took a break, the things that you did during your break, and stuff like that was going on?
Yeah, I just slept a lot, really. No, yeah. I just, how can I say? If I can explain the big picture of it, it'd probably be easier to understand. When I started the channel, I'm not going to go into too much. It was like a call-in. I've said it on other videos. I'm not going to take too much here. And I basically was compelled or drawn to make videos back in 2016. I started with my main channel, Wonderful World of Weirdness. And as I went along making videos, I started making ghost videos, compilation videos, and I had creepy music and stuff, and they really sort of gained a lot of views. So with me then, I sort of went that way, because when I started, I was doing all sorts of stuff. I was doing UFOs, teleportation. I was doing like quite a broad spectrum of stuff, and I was happy with that. But then the ghost videos started to take off, and I felt compelled to keep doing the creepy stuff. So I did, and my channel like went up massively, gained 100,000 subs in a year, and it affected me mentally then as well, because success brings trolls and so on and so on, and get death threats and all sort of stuff. And then as I went on, I kept having hurdles, getting demonetized, monetized, demonetized. When I was earning, YouTube basically removed 3/4 of my income overnight. A lot of stuff was really affected me. And then when COVID came along and I wasn't able to make videos because I had my son home, that was the first sort of like stop. I sort of stopped for a bit, for like about 6 months. And then when I started again, I realized that I can't do the videos the way I used to, so I started making narration-based videos, like using some of the stories that Roger gave me, like you mentioned in his stream the other night, the farmhouse and about Amityville Horror and stuff like that, which was good, but it wasn't quite what I wanted to do. And again, then for different reasons, I got a bit disheartened again. Something wasn't right. I just didn't know what it was, but I just knew something wasn't right. And then I saw a video once that really was amazing evidence of life after death, but I wasn't able to share it for different reasons, which I totally respect their reasons, so I wasn't able to do that. So there again, I stopped then for 18 months, and it was after Roger interviewing me, it was sort of like, I don't know, opened something up in me again, and I started then making enlightened interviews, which Karma was my first interview, and then I got guided to start making my own like solo podcast, which took me a lot to actually start doing it and sharing it publicly, but now I do it and I don't really look back now, but it did take a lot to do it. And so that's the stage I'm at now, and I feel that I'm gonna be, there's more stuff going to be at it, but I don't know what it is yet. There's more, it's going to be another direction, I'm sure. But if I'm wrong, I'm happy with the way it's going. People who look at my channel are going to see my subs going down, because I built the sub base up by my creepy videos, and a lot of people don't like my new direction, which I totally respect, totally understand they don't like it. It's all good, you know, I understand that. So the battle I got now is to bring new subscribers in who like the direction that I'm taking, and trying not to lose too many of my old subs. But I know at the moment I'm losing, I think, about 300 subs a month, which might sound a lot to people, but I've got 141,000 subs, probably soon to be 140,000 subs. And I have noticed that pretty much every time I put a new video up, I lose subs, because it's not the like creepy videos they used to. So I've seen the graph, seen that, you know, I'm losing subs and what have you. I'm starting to notice that I'm not losing so many subs as I was. The decline is slowing down. Like I lost, when I did my first podcast video, I think I lost 49 subs as soon as I released the videos. So most people will get demoralized by that. But like now, I lost like 11 subs in my last podcast video, so it's slowly, decline is, you know, is altering. So my main goal is to carry on going the way I feel directed to go on my channel, and to reach the point where the subs start to go back up. And that's my main goal. When I started my channel, I saw the future of the channel, and so far it's come true. I mean, not the like negative side of it, the like positives. When I hit 100,000 subs, I knew all that was going to happen, and I knew that I'm going to go further again than that. I'm not going to say it publicly, but I know that I am again. I'm just going to go a lot bigger than what it is. And so now I've just got the journey of making it happen, and I'm at a place in my channel that I'm really like happy with it. I'm content in myself on it. I'm happy with the way it's going. I'm not like doing videos that I didn't really got towards the end. I didn't really want to make them, I really didn't by the end. I just wasn't me, and I'm making videos now I'm happy with, and just generally happy in the path that I'm on. And I've got a game channel as well. That's being a bit neglected at the moment, but soon we'll be back on track. Just I can't be everywhere. So, funny enough, my game channel, this is really crazy. I haven't did a video for about a month on it. It's going through a growth spurt. It's the highest watch time it's had in about 2 years. So from some older videos I've done, I'm getting crazy amount of views and watch time, and it's like, what the hell? I'm not even uploading at the moment, and my channel is growing really rapidly, so it's really encouraging as well. I'm almost frightened to make a video for it because it's happened in the past. I've had growth spells like that. I make a video, instantly the growth stops. It's like, I don't know what it all means, but it has happened. But anyway, moving on. This year just to see where it all goes. And I think working with these guys here today, I join them on their stream sometimes and stuff, and I've interviewed Karma. Karma's interviewed me, and when Karma interviewed me, a few people have said how the interview, how it touched them with what we were talking about and what have you. And I feel when that happens, then you're doing something right. If you touch one person, if someone watches this video and it affects them and in a good positive way, then you're doing something right. And that's what I feel it's all about. You've got to you should try and inspire people, how you can help raise the vibration, in a way, if you can, make their lives more positive. If you do that, then I think you're on the right track, and that's what I think. For me, as a YouTuber, that's what it's about. So there we go. I think Roger wants to say something.
Roger, you have something you'd like to share with us? No, I think he might have stepped away for a second.
Okay.
Now, when you were saying you see your subscribers go fluctuating, we'll say, because you have some channels where the
Oh, we've lost Karma. I think it's a technical hitch. Roger, are you back? No, it's just me. Oh, have I lost? Is it me? Have I lost?
That was accident. That was
there
accidental. Yeah, I don't know. I was talking to you guys, and the next thing you know, you have some channels where your subscribers click, and I don't know. I was attempting to mount the phone so it can stay. I turned some lights on so that way we could see. But now you say you have it to where your subscribers are fluctuating. So do you feel as though perhaps some of your subscribers are being driven to your gaming channel based off of the things that you're doing new on your Wonderful World of Weirdness, or?
No, I don't think. I used to share my game links on my community page on my Wonderful World of Weirdness channel, and they just hated it. I did get more views, but they didn't like it. They didn't like it. Basically told me, so I just stopped in the end, because it was what it was. I was getting maybe my views would be more when I shared it on my community page, but they wouldn't watch the videos. It'd just be watching a few seconds, and they wouldn't really watching them, so it just wasn't worth it. So I just stopped. So I know that they're not going to there. No, it's a totally different audience,
Yeah.
But they don't like gaming, so gaming has just got their own audience.
I kind of noticed that is true when it comes to both directions too. If I tried to share my strange and unusual stuff on my gaming ones, most people give me bad reviews on it. And, the same way goes with the strange stuff. They just don't want anything to do with the video gaming, so I don't do that either.
Now, when you guys make videos, when you produce your content, what is the gist of it? What are the intentions? See, I heard you say, John, that you'd like for people to connect with it, and if you touch somebody, then you feel as though you're doing something right. When you go into it, do you go into it with, "Hey, I'm just going to make stuff that feels good to me," or is it more of a, "I'm going to do something to make sure that people interact with this content"?
I just go wherever I feel led to make a video. I don't think about really the consequence afterwards. Although I did think the last video I made, podcast one, that I probably would get some people reacting to it and commenting on it, and I actually did. A few did, but you've got to just, I think, focus on what you've got to do there, and you can't. To me, if people comment or they don't comment on it, it's the small stuff for me. It's not. It doesn't really matter. I obviously like people to comment and to share their experiences and stuff. Yes, that's what I want. That's what I'm aiming for in long term. I want it. I want it. But for now, my focus is what I've been shown is I make these videos and I like building blocks, and for the future, and they lead, one block leads to another, and eventually you build a house. If you keep building, putting blocks on something, you make a house. So basically, I'm making some sort of building a vehicle, or making a vehicle, maybe a building of something in my wonderful world of weirdness, which is going to be reach a lot of people, I think, in long term. I'm not saying I'm reaching a lot of people now, because even though the channel's quite big, I haven't got the audience there yet. The audience is a select few people who maybe find my videos interesting. But say the channel was built on creepy videos, so a lot of the people on there aren't interested in my new videos. So the challenge is, for me, is to find these people out there who want to watch my new videos, and they are out there. And that's what I've got to do is to do that. Maybe by sharing more, maybe I should share on Facebook more, I don't know. But I really just, for the now, I'm just going by where I'm sort of guided and to see where it leads. I'm in no rush. That's one of the beauties, I think, of being an older person. When you're young, everything is got to be done here and then. It's got to be done now. When you're older, you just think, well, just take your time. It doesn't matter. Why rush it? It's like fine wine, isn't it? They say the wine has had time to. The longer you leave a bottle of wine, the nicer it is. I don't know. I don't drink, but it's just. So that's my view. Just no rush. What happens, happens. So there we go.
So you're telling me that without drinking, you've never heard? I heard that you age fine like wine when I was a kid. I wasn't even legally allowed. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's a saying in this country. You age like fine wine. They say that.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't drink. It's like, I thought that was like internationally known. Like, the finer the wine. I remember my mom took me to a vineyard and I got to step on grapes. I was young, of course, couldn't drink it, but we had a good time making the wine and stuff like that. And they give you the whole history and like this. Yeah, that's why I was like, what? Are you kidding me? You don't have to drink to know that. Stuff. You age like fine wine. Yeah, no, definitely. Now when you're talking about making content and having to do a certain thing and stuff like that, I think that it really has less to do with age. One thing I'd like for our listeners and our viewers to understand, we are not, at least I know for a fact from a host perspective, and I'm pretty sure from a panelist perspective, I'm not bashing young people. I'm nowhere near 50. I have more than a decade before I get there, more than a decade. So I wanna make it clear that we are hoping to basically bridge the gap, to kind of avoid and get rid of the common misconceptions, because I've seen lately, especially, like there's such a separation by age. And I feel like there's a certain time where separation by age should be considered like and it's kind of created a discrimination, because it's like there should be a separation of age when we're talking about children engaging in relations with adults. But I've also noticed too that with when we're getting to the older generation, especially men, to feel validated, they have to date a younger girl. She has to be like 21 in their and it's like they'll be like 60 years old. And now, do you feel as though? And I'm not saying with dating because we excuse me, as Roger has shared with us before, he's not currently in a relationship, and John has a partner. But when you guys, do you feel like interacting with people of a young, youthful? Do you feel like you guys exchange that type of energy and you're able to maintain your youth as a result? Because that's an excuse that's used by like a lot of men.
No,
when
I can take this one. I'm good at this. Now, when it comes to young people, I'm really good at getting along with them and functioning with them. I don't know how I am, but I really am. And if people are like communicating with me on YouTube and on Minds and everything, and they're younger than me, we have a ball. It doesn't matter how old they are, you know. I've got a video game buddy on my Discord named Fallen, and all he plays is Resident Evil and Devil May Cry, and he just loves sitting back and having conversations with me, you know what I mean? It's just like Mr. Robot. He's in his 30s, I guess, or maybe in his 20s, you know. He loves having conversations with me too. There's tons of young people, man, on both YouTube Minds, all of them that I love, or Discord, I should say. I really don't. I comment on my videos, but I don't really get too interactive on YouTube. It's mostly Discord. But when it comes to talking to younger people, I don't have a problem with it, you know.
You said Mr. Robot's in his 20s and he's traveled around India.
20s or 30s, I believe he said.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I mean, I've never had a problem with discussing this kind of stuff with it. I think what it is like the gap, and I think a lot of it really has to do with the changes that took place, you know what I mean? Like, the only way I can relate it is, like, I remember when I was growing up, there were television shows on TV, you know, and kids, when I got in my 20s and 30s, they were addicted to cartoons, so you had to be careful about your kids over watching cartoons. Now that's not the case. It's not cartoons they're addicted to. They're addicted to the internet and getting on video games and watching YouTube and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And back then, we made it a point to where we made it an effort that our kids didn't get addicted to cartoons and stuff, you know, and today they just don't do it. It's like parents don't really say, look, you need to stay away from the computer and stop playing all these video games for 12 hours a day, you know, or as long as when they get out of school and they get home, it's straight on the computer or the console, and they're automatically on there, you know, so. And I think that's the generation gap, you know what I mean, where it's almost impossible in the real world to actually communicate with a person even from 30 below because they're so occupied in what's going on the internet or what video game they're playing, you know. And I think that's what's really hard for older people, is to handle that disconnect from reality. That's what it really seems like. It's really hard to handle these younger people being just completely disconnected from the real world, you know. I get on the computer, I play video games too, but I know what's going on around me, you know. I communicate with my family, friends, stuff like that. And it's that's kind of how I see it.
One thing I learned that especially because like when I was a kid, I was always taught kids stay in a child's place, and it was always a automatic separation of adulthood and being of youth. And as a result, it makes it to where you're unprepared for certain type of situations, certain type of responsibilities. Also, as well, with the things that go on in the world, you kind of get discouraged. Like, wow, why didn't you teach me this? And it's like, well, you were a kid at the time. It's like, yeah, but should you have not prepared me for those things? Now, I also know too that people who feel like they're absent of a voice, where it comes from like a younger generation, if they feel like they're going to be kind of told to just say, oh, that's kid stuff, or kind of just discredit it because of age, which a lot of older people do. And I'm just saying that from my personal experience. It's like, oh, you can't have done this because you're this age, and you don't know this because of this. And there's always some type of hindrance. And I think it makes it to where the younger generation kind of has less respect, because we're well, younger generation knows that what they're capable of, and instead of getting the credit perhaps that they deserve, they're kind of shunned and disregarded. Not making excuses, because regardless of the fact, you should be able to accept a person for as they are. When people ask me how old I am, I always say infinite. I'm not. It's not anything that I feel upset about my age. It's just more of those things to where I recognize that age has become a hindrance. I was at a gym one time, and I was talking to a girl. We were so cool. And then she was just like, well, she was super young. She was probably like 20. And so I told her that I was in my 30s. She kind of looked like, oh. And the next thing you know, the conversation stopped. I'm like I'll run circles around you. What are you, what's the problem? Like, I don't understand. We were cool. But that's one thing I noticed. Like, even like I've had exes that kind of have told me like, oh, well, you're too dull. Like, well, I know I'm mature. I don't want my kid, riding around in a Benz or anything for that matter, hanging out the side of the doors, falling out and stuff like that. Even when I was young, I didn't do those things. Like I in my 18s and 20s, it was like, no, that looks dangerous, and I value my life. And I mean, like, oh, it's so fun and spontaneous. Well, you can be fun and spontaneous without being an idiot. And I think as a result, people have been attempting to kind of get themselves seen more, get their voices heard more. And so since they're doing it, they're doing anything for attention. And that's even with when we're talking about how people allow their children to be more into like social media. It's because they feel like they're missing a piece of themselves. So they're preoccupied, whether it'll be with their job, whether it'll be with their peer group, whether it'll be with their own personal entertainment. The quality time is not as valued. People are not... they're not regarding the importance of personal connection, but that's also in my mind, just from my perspective, an agenda, because you have people that are like completely full on technology, and all they like to do is talk about technology, and all that, it's just one of those things that you start to learn as a result that, oh, okay, this is happening because of these things. This is going on because this is what's expected. And when expectations are reached, then things start to change. Because if we expect for it to be a full-on technology revolution, we cannot stop halfway. You have to be completely consumed by technology. Everything has to be about the technology. And then we might transition back to something different. And that's one thing I have learned. Now, do you feel as though that these things are affecting your ability to connect or to maintain positive connections in regards to genuinity? Like you said, you have young people that you communicate with. Like, I don't want us to focus too much on the age thing, because I don't ever want anyone from either side, older or younger, to be discouraged with listening to what we're talking about. I'd more so like us to communicate about like actual experiences, things that are different, like make it to where people are, oh, man, shit, I can't wait to get old, like type of, not can't, you know what I mean? To where it's encouraging, not as if we're saying like I don't want anyone, especially like I said, because like I'm close to where we're going yet, but I'll be there eventually, soon enough, as the Lord. I mean, prayerfully,
I
the universe.
mean, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that it's all on the younger person's plate, okay? Now, this all goes back even farther. Like what you were discussing about not being treated right and being looked down on. See, that's my generation. That's what happened to us, alright? The problem is, you know, I grew up with the boomers, okay, what everybody likes to call the boomers, and with children, when you went over to somebody's house, they told you to sit on the couch, don't move, don't say nothing. A child was only supposed to be seen and not, and they weren't allowed to speak.
I heard.
And I didn't like that, just like most people my age didn't like that. So what we did is we didn't do that to our children. But it goes even further than that. As the generations went by, we just started getting laughs, okay? There are things that we need to do with our children and teach them, and there are things that they need to know that's important, which is in the real world. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's not just the young ones, it's people my age and people that are younger that are doing this stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like the boomers are kind of responsible for what's going on with the millennials, because if you look at it from a perspective, like you said, the boomers kind of allowed their kids to be welcome into an existence. Like my mom, she is, I guess, then she'd be considered a boomer. And with me, like we had still, like how you said, well, not because not all the boomers did the whole like let's kind of make it different, because she was raised, brought up, kids are seen not heard. I was raised, kids are seen not heard. So it came to me to where it was like I created a balance. It's like certain stuff you don't burden children with, but in other instances they have to be taught responsibility, and it's our responsibility as parents to make sure that they are able to communicate effectively and that they're taught these responsibilities, especially if we would like it to be taught efficiently. Because what happens is the youth, anyone, I mean, just in general, as you're growing up, you'll start to look to your peers, or you'll start to look to outside influences for guidance, just because of the fact that you've never been able to really have that connection with your parents, and just because you have never really been able to communicate yourself effectively. So when you get into a group to where people are actually listening to you, you're like, oh, they listen to me, I'm going to go ahead and keep talking, or and then you might fall into the wrong group. I noticed just from my ex-husband, when you're talking about joining certain type of cycles, when they, or let's just use a better example, like sororities and fraternities, people will go to college and they'll join a sorority or they'll join a fraternity, and they're doing these things. Do you hear that when it starts ringing? Do you guys hear my alarm?
No, I don't hear it.
Oh, okay. It's been ringing in the middle because for like my normal start of my day. I just was wondering if it could be heard on. But when you join these things, it's because you'd like to feel a part of some type of togetherness, some type of inclusion. And I don't feel as though we're putting it on either plate. Because like I said, I feel like just from my generational standpoint, like I feel like we'll look at the people that are older like, oh, you misguided us. So as a result, you misguided us. We're upset with you. We have like we feel some type of way towards you. The thing about it is from both standpoints, because again, it should be something to where we're able to just based off of connection, how you make me feel, based off of how we communicate. It should not be, I'm not going to communicate with you because you're this age. We don't do that to babies. We see a baby, no matter how old we are, oh, look at the cute little baby. And babies never look at us like, you're an old girl. No one wants to do that. It's how you make them feel. It's how you're not, whether or not you're nice to them. We all could take a page out of a baby's book, honestly. Like, because they literally base it off of vibes, which that's what connection is, based off of vibrations. That's how you vibrate with who's on your frequency level, and that's the continuation of you to be able to build something of longevity. Like it should never be, oh well, I'm this age, I'm that age, and so like it's not one of those things to where people actually take into consideration like how they're hindering themselves. Because I've even heard like rappers and singers, artists especially, how they were dogging people when they were like in their 20s. They would dog people in their 30s, and now they're in their 30s and they're like, oh, I'm still hip. But they also go into the point to where they want to date. Like I said, I'm going to date down here so like I can prove that I'm still hip, or I'm going to engage with this type of audience so I can prove that I'm still hip. I feel like when you become more experienced, you're doing the world an injustice and serving very limited purpose if you're unwilling to communicate your experiences and what ripened you and your different change of perspectives. You don't change your perspective or even change the overall perspective by engaging with things to make it look like you're a certain way, but you do it by embracing where you're at in life, experiencing life to its fullest. Now, what would you guys like? What would you guys like to see different? Like when like how would you like for you all to be viewed? Because I heard John say a few times, well, if I'm deemed over the hill, then it's over the hill. Really, it's just a saying, because they supposedly the average life is 100 years, and this is what but it's not. It's sank drastically. But and that's why they call it overhill, because they say when you get to 50, when you're getting to 50, you're going up the hill, but then when you get to 50, you pretty much got stuff figured out. Do you feel like, and that's why it's called I made it over the hill and now I kind of get life. Do you feel like that's the truth? Like, do you feel like you're at a point to where you actually get life, or do you feel like there's a lot of stuff that you're still learning?
Well, I think, yeah, definitely I get life much better now. For sure, definitely. It's definitely your I just aren't putting the words. I dreaded it when I was coming to 50. I was dreading it. I thought, oh no, but now I'm here. It's like, no, it's all right. You got a choice as well. We can either grow old gracefully, or you can fight it, which I try to do. I walk, I play basketball in the summer a lot. Stuff like that, try and keep myself fit, try and stop my body aging any more than it's going to, naturally.
And young kids ache way more than I've ever.
Yeah.
I hear 20-year-olds complain, my back, my knee, and I think it has a lot of fucking lazy. Like sitting on your phone requires 2 neurons rubbed together, if even. And I mean, it's pretty much, that's the extent of their physical activity, the up and down lifting of food, or the up and down lifting of their cellular device or video game controller. And they'll sit in these positions all day long. And like, I've heard more 20-year-olds and teenagers complain about body aches than I have ever in my life. And then even have ever heard anyone older than me complain about. So my grandfather, he goes out and rides his bike. He's almost 90, 87 years old, 90 years old. He goes out and rides his bike. And like, he's at the track. He just came back from traveling. He was in California. Like, Pop-Up does the do. And I feel like it has to do a lot with mentality. But I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to throw that in there because, body aches. I don't know. I pray they continue to skip me. I get them every now and again if I sleep on the couch wrong. But no, usually it's definitely younger generations I've been hearing in a lot more pain than we are, or you got anyone.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to say too much for who they are, but 2 people that I know them, both in their 20s. One has got club foot, I think you call it. One foot is longer than the other or something like that. So he obviously he has difficulty getting around. But he spends most of his day on the computer and stuff like that. And I know it's obviously his foot is a major thing with him, but he is he's not fit at all, and he's not even 30 yet. My fitness level is way above his. And there's another person I know, a little bit younger, had to go to a doctor with chest pains, and basically he's got fatty tissue on his liver, and he's not even 25 yet, and it's just, again, all he does all day is on the computer playing games and stuff all day, and it's just like, this is mad, you know. I'm double his age, over double his age. I did worry because I'm an ex-baker, because I had a relative who died. I was named after, actually. He was a baker, died from having flour on his lungs.
Oh my goodness.
I was named after him, and he actually died quite young. He died in his 40s from it.
Oh, that was.
And so I was worried throughout my life that maybe that would catch up with me later on in my life, you know. And a few years ago, I had a persistent cough. It lasted for about 8 weeks. I ended up having an X-ray, and they checked my chest, and my chest is totally clear. So I think, right, there you go. Kick that worry goodbye, because it's no longer an issue, because I'm not baking anymore. I'm not going to bake anymore. So I am going to worry about that. But then again, it shows a worry that could have dragged you down. That worry was in the back of my mind for like 10, 20 years. But now it's not. So it's good, you know. But getting back to the cartoon thing and what you were saying about, I remember when I was young, Tom and Jerry used to be censored because they tried to censor it because of the violence on it. I don't know if you remember that, Roger. If it was the same with you.
Yeah.
I remember it. They tried to ban it, I remember. I think it was banned for a little while. I remember they were trying to ban it anyway. And as far as communicating with young people, I've always been called like a bit of a Peter Pan, because I think gaming helps me keep me young as well. I got on well with young people. I also got on well with people who have disabilities as well. Not that I have had many calls to be in contact with many with disabilities, but there was a young lad years ago. I was in my 50s. I was a baker. No, I was in my late 40s. I was a baker, and he's on the autistic spectrum. He has Asperger's, and his mother owned the business where I was working, and we were short-staffed. So she said to me, "Right, humour him. Just see if he can help you a little bit." You know, she basically wrote him off before he went in the bakery. I got on with him. We have 30 odd years between us. We are like a house on fire. We got on great. We were laughed together. We really got on well. And I built his confidence up. And within 2 weeks, he was baking his first loaf of bread. Within a month, he was able to run the shift. Now his mother wrote him off. I didn't. I gave him a chance. I said, no, you can do it. I encouraged him. And now he's as far as I know, he's still baking bread. Yet, if he'd have listened to his mum, he would never have baked a loaf of bread in his life. But I saw the potential. I thought, no, he can do it. We got on so well. I built his confidence up. We had a laugh doing it. I made him feel relaxed. Yeah, you do it. Go on. I'll watch you. You know, you can do it. You go for it. And he did it. And I think it's one of my proudest moments that I was able to do that, to change that young lad's life, to give him the confidence to do it. Something that his own family wouldn't even give him the confidence to, even though they ran the business. Even his dad was a sort of baker as well. No, they give him no chance at all. Yeah, I came along, give him a few minutes of my time to show him how to do stuff, and bang, he can do the job. And I'm really proud that I was able to do that. I look back and I think, yeah, that was I think it's really good, you know. And I think so I got on with young people as well. It's because my sons are quite young, and we talk as if there's no real age difference, you know. I gotta sort of filter some things when I say yes, because I'm sort of straight to the point about things. I don't really hold back anymore. I used to. I don't hold back anything anymore. But with my sons, I've sort of like filtered it down a bit, you know. Otherwise, no problem, you know, anything like that.
Do you feel as though your filters came in as you begin to ascend with an age, or do you feel as though that's something personality-wise?
Ascendance, yeah, definitely. And I have to do that anyway. Because I said in the interview I did with you, I quite open my spirituality and stuff when I'm on camera anyway. In the real world, no, I don't have to say anything to anyone. But even then, I'm holding back. I never, you know, I give a share part of myself, but I don't share all of myself. And when I'm talking to sort of like my family, it's different because they're not really ascended. very much. So I have to sort of like filter what I say, almost like what people up in the other side have to do to us. They have to filter because their vibration is much higher than ours. They have to sort of like downsize it so we can communicate with them, so to speak. That's my perception of it. I don't know if that's right. You would have a better idea of it than me, you know. But that's how I see it. So.
What about you, Roger? You're over there quiet.
Well, I have noticed though John is turning into more of a bad boy. Like he's getting rowdy. Like especially in the last year, man. He's come undone a couple times. I was really proud of him because that's the way I'm supposed to be acting, and all of a sudden John's like.
John took over your part.
Yeah. But with like being, positive about things and what I'd like for the future to hold, that's kind of hard for me because that's usually something that I would let people like John talk about because he's really good with the positive stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like. I'm cool to talk to and everything, but like I'm kind of like freaking the guy with the hatchet that freaking wants to kill zombies and eat their flesh. You know what I mean? So I'm that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy, like video games that are freaking like zombie games or like Minecraft, whenever I was talking, I named it, Zombie Meets Good for you, so when it comes to like what I would like to see is I'd like to see some of the things that used to be values come back to the way they were, like grandkids treating their grandparents the way that they should be treating them instead of, well, like for example, like my nephews and nieces, okay, they loved their uncle and their aunts and everything back when they were like 10 years old, but once they started going to school, meeting their friends, they didn't have no use for them no more, and that's normal, you know what I mean? But when I was younger, man, and it came to my grandparents, every time I got to see them, it was a big deal, you know what I mean? If they needed my help, I was more than willing to help them. And today, I'd like to see something like that start taking place again, where the younger people look at their grandparents and say, look, these are my grandparents, I love them, they need my help. And don't complain about it because it's an opportunity for you to be a part of their lives because someday they're not going to be there anymore,
And even outside of just their grandparents, just the older generation in general, like what I've noticed is that the level of respect is disgusting. Like it'll be,
the grandparents though, see, there's that bond. Like there's something I didn't understand when I was younger. Like I didn't understand the bond between a grandparent and their grandkids. That's different from a parent and their child. I mean, like they have this like love for their grandkids that just is blind almost. You know what I'm saying? A grandkid can do no wrong in the eyes of grandfather or grandmother.
In some cases, we have to compare. We are generalizing a lot. You know what I mean?
It sounds like a generalization, but if you pay attention, it's true. I've gotten into arguments with my parents because they straight up don't like me saying stuff about their grandkids. You know what I mean? It's like that's, I mean,
experience. Some people, when their kids have kids, they're upset, they're infuriated, and they treat that child with that same disrespect.
I'm talking about like an ordinary family structure. I mean, I understand that there are dysfunctional families, okay? And I mean, with dysfunctional families, the best I can say about that is you have to relearn, because you're being brought up in an atmosphere that was dysfunctional, and to take care of something that was dysfunctional, you have to learn how to be functional. You know what I mean? And it's about learning. You know, if you don't want to treat your kids the way that you were treated, then you have to learn a different way. You know, and that's not saying anything bad about people who's in a dysfunctional family. It's just saying that you can't live your life saying, well, this is what I was given, this is all I know, because then you're going to end up doing the same thing to your kids that was done to you. You know what I mean?
To learn is to be taught, though. And if you're not taught differently or shown differently, that's why I was speaking more on the term of, in general, we should have more of a connection with, like, just the level of respect towards our elders. Like, I was raised to respect my elders regardless of who they were, grandparents or no grandparents. It did not really matter how they treated me. It did not matter how they treated other people. It was, you have respect for your elders, and then but in general, I feel like just levels of respect for people has completely descended. Like, people are more so on a level, like, it doesn't matter how old you are, because I meet older people who have, like, the worst type of mindset, and at them for guidance, and they're worse than the younger generations. It's like it'll be 50 and 60-year-olds who are like, I want a sugar baby, and they have low levels of respect for women, or just younger, especially women. I'll say what I've that the older the male is, usually, not always, and I'm not going to generalize, but it's usually they have less respect for younger women, and that's kind of why, or less respect for women in general, but especially younger women, and they kind of more so gravitate towards the women that they're easily able to control and easily able to manipulate. And like, when we're looking at just an overall, having respect for your grandparents is something that should happen. But what I was saying was, we should have respect for people in general, regardless. And then that would automatically consume people to have respect for their grandparents, or have respect for people that they come in contact with, regardless of age. Because if we put the emphasis on having respect for our grandparents, that's great. Well, if your grandparents like hitting on you, beating on you, telling you you're nothing, telling you you're worthless, and you're still showing that level of respect, mentally it can do damage to you, because you're going to respect something that's unhealthy. So as a result of going up with respect for something unhealthy, or just encountering something unhealthy, regardless of your age, you're going to turn into a different type of person. And so you're doing it you're just viewing it as more of a personal standpoint, because you take care of your parents. Your parents, you're there for them all the time, and it's not the easiest thing. And you've communicated that a lot, but you do it, and you'd much rather do it as opposed to have someone else do it. But that's just based off of your level of respect and your level of growth, something that you might not have been taught, but you learned along the way. So again, how do we get to a point to where we can see those things? How do we get to a point to where people value the people that they're around, the people that they were raised by, the people that raised them? Like, what do you feel like is necessary for this change that you'd like to see, that you've mentioned, to take place?
Well, it goes back to, like I said, about dysfunction, like getting abused by your grandparents or your parents is not a good thing, and stuff like that. But see, that's not what I'm referring to. And like you said, it should be respect for your elders. It just period. It doesn't matter if they're your grandparents or you're just an elderly person, because there's a lot of elderly people that are being treated badly too.
Like, okay.
Now, like, the whole deal about this dysfunctional stuff, okay? I think that there's so much dysfunction in the world, and people are too focused on that because they come from that dysfunction that they don't realize that they can change the way their life is, even though they were raised up in that situation. You see, what I really think is important for being a young person in the world that we live in today is, if you came up in a bad environment, learn how to live in a good environment. You know what I mean? Kind of flock towards those people who have a good life and figure out, hey, what are these people doing that makes their life happy? You know what I mean? And a lot of them don't want to do that, because to be happy and have a good life, that means that you've got to give up some of these bad things that you're doing, you know? So nothing comes for free. You have to sacrifice the bad if you want good in your life. It has to go. I had to quit drinking for me to freaking actually enjoy my life, you know what I mean? Because the booze wasn't working no more, you know? And that was a decision I had to make. If I didn't do that, then I would still be in the old life that I was in, treating people like crap, you know? But I had to make that decision. It wasn't anybody else's problem. It wasn't my bad relationships. It wasn't anybody in my life. It was a decision I had to make, you know? So
back to my original question, what do you feel as though is something that people can do? Like we're saying, well, you just have to kind of change it. But what if it's not that easy just to change? So how do you feel as though this change could be evoked so that way people will actually incorporate this type of difference within their experience, regardless of them?
I just said it. Flock towards people who are happy and have a good life and seem to have a positive way of looking at things. That's why I like John. You know what I mean? John's one of the most positive people I know on this planet, believe it or not. Zach, you met Zach, always happy, loves Walt Disney. I mean, you can't beat that, dude. The guy that just talks hours and hours about Walt Disney World, you know? Flock to those people.
I guess I have solutions that can be consistent regardless of circumstance. And so, yeah, if you can find those people, that's just great. So, in the rare event that you're unable to do that, then does that mean there's no hope for you? Because we'll say, well, there's always good people around. We cannot really make those type of statements.
Yeah, you can. You can find positive people. If you can't find positive people, then you're hiding out in the closet. You know what I mean? It's like that's
emotionally disconnected. Even if those positive
gotta try.
Able to respect them and embrace those experiences. So how do we help people who are not able to actually connect genuinely with people that are positive because they're so used to the negativity? So they look at it as like, I know people who, because they've been wronged and cheated on so many times in relationships, they refuse relationships regardless of how positive the person is, how positive the relationship is, but it has to do with their mental trauma. What do you feel as though are some things that are necessary for people to kind of rewire those connections so that they can actually build lucrative relationships?
Go ahead, John.
I think positivity is everywhere. If you can't have positive people around you, there's always positive situations around. You just got to look for them. It may be harder for people with trauma, yeah. Here's an example. My mother died in front of me when I was 17, and it's very traumatic. You couldn't talk about it for a long time. Now, I could have been stuck in that thing, being negative about it because thinking, oh, look at me, I've lost my mum so young, what have you, and the way she died. But I didn't. I just pulled my way up, and I wasn't surrounded by positive people. No, I wasn't, because there just weren't really many people really around me that time who were like that. But I somehow did. I clawed my way up and just looked for positive situations. Or be positive, like, in yourself. Like,
there you
see someone.
As we're looking for, you did it yourself. You were positive. Yeah. Because leaning for outside influences is not going to grow.
Yeah.
as
It's
yourself.
hard. It's harder, yeah. But I had I was engaged to a girl once, and she two-timed me with my best friend 2 weeks after we got engaged.
Oh my
Then you
God.
think to myself, how can I trust another girl again after that? But I did. It did hurt. It took a while. Yes, it did. But I thought, no, I'm not going to let this beat me. This isn't going to be the end of me. No way. I'm going to beat this. You've got to, you know, sometimes life can be totally crap, and you go through terrible trauma. Way worse. Mine is just nothing compared to what some people go through. But you either decide, right, I'm going to well of trauma for the rest of my life, or you get your ass up. You think, right, no, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get on up, get out of it. And so that's what I think people should try to do. Not everyone can. Not everyone can be positive. No, some people can't. They just can't. I get that, but you've just got to. I think you've just got to just do it. If you just got to
care enough. You have to care enough about your self-value.
Yeah, you have to care enough. Yeah, know your self-worth as well. Not think I'm worthless. I'm a worthless piece of crap. I'm not worth anything to anyone.
And
you might think
there's
that
also there's also something else I want to mention too, like outside influence is important, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. You don't go to a whorehouse to listen to the piano player. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So if you don't think that the people that you're around is important, you're gonna stay at that whorehouse and you're gonna tell yourself, I'm just here for the piano player, when we all know why you're really there. You know what I mean? So you gotta flock to the people who freaking are positive in your life and actually want to do good for you. Because if you keep hanging out with all those people that want to manipulate you and want to lie to you and tell you stuff just so that you'll like them, then that's what you're gonna become.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from and your perspective. I've just experience has taught me that if you don't do the work yourself, regardless of who you're around, you're going to convert, and you'll usually be influenced by those outside people. In order for you to be influenced in a positive way is great, but what happens if those people that were once positive have a traumatic experience, they have not done the inner work, and now they become a negative influence, but you depend on their positivity in order for you to sustain yours. In regards to doing that, is the minute they become someone different and you're just so dependent on that connection, then you're going to become different. Their transition becomes your transition. We're energy frequencies, and as a result, when we exchange energy, like if someone's having a bad day, if your friend is having a bad day, even you said this before, that the way you communicated with John one time was something that you didn't really use. Like, I shouldn't have said that like that to John. John's the most positive person in the world, but you probably had other stuff that was going on. One thing John did not do was allow it to affect him or you guys' relationship. That's because of the inner work he did. Had he been dependent on your connection and to where it was how you communicate with him or how you talk to him,
it's called being a friend. Okay, like if your friend was there with you and helped you out, and you got to the point where you depended on them and they went to the negative side, then this is the juncture where you have to stop depending on him and stand up and say, look, this is my friend, maybe he needs my help too. In other words, if you're to that point and you haven't learned how to be a friend, then you haven't changed. You're still the negative person you were before, pretending to be positive. You see what I mean? You see, you gain something by being around that positive person. But what you gain determined on your actions. So you are around them while they're positive, but then they hit rock bottom and you say, oh man, I can't be around him, he's negative.
Or they hit rock bottom because they've been around your negativity. What if it's because for me, I've noticed that being around negative people, regardless of how positive I am, it would bring my energy level down, turn me into something that I'm not. And so, and if those people are negative, There's no way for them to bring me up. They're happy. They're sad. You're mad today. Oh, you're having a short temper today.
Oh,
Yes.
that's what I'm trying to say. You weren't positive. You were just a negative person pretending to be positive. You see what I mean?
You feel like who wasn't positive? I wasn't positive.
No, the person who says, "Oh, now you're hitting rock bottom," and stuff, that person was clinging on to you, pretending to be positive, but he was still negative, or she was still negative. You see what I mean? So, if that person was really trying to become a positive person, when their friend ended up, falling and having negative feelings because of a bad experience, then that friend would step up and say, "Hey, man, you need my help." That's a friend. Now,
Negative.
now for me, if I turn around and I was in that situation and this person was there for me during my hard times and helped me see a better life, and then they started having a bad time, then it's my turn to step up and say, "Hey, man, you need help."
Yeah.
It's not for me to say, "Oh, man, he's negative right now. I need to leave him alone because he's going to make me negative." That's not the way to deal with a friendship. If you think that's the way to deal with a friendship, then you haven't learned anything. You know what I mean?
In friendship, you should never turn your back on a friend.
I'll give you an example.
Your friend pretending to be someone else, hiding behind Decepticon. You present yourself as your actual self. You show people what they're dealing with and let them make an informed decision. It's like those guys who like polyamorous or whoever, girls and guys, like poly relationships, but they'll tell you, "Hey, look, I want to be monogamous with you." And the next thing you know, they're concealing their cheating. It's like, wait a minute, time out. You should let me because you're my friend, because you care about me, because you value my emotional well-being. You should allow me to make those choices as opposed to kind of manipulate me into believing you're something you're not. And like you said, that just means that they're not really positive. They'd rather lie to you to maintain a connection as opposed to present genuinity, because they don't value you enough to feel as though honesty is something that they should exchange with you. And in those cases, you should run as fast as you can. If you know someone's lying to you, you know someone's manipulating you, regardless of age, regardless of influence they have over you, if you know that you are being lied to on a consistent basis.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about just people bailing on you. Those are fair weather friends. Those aren't real friends. You know what I'm saying? These are people that are just using you so that they can feel positive about themselves.
So that they can feel like that, right. And that's what I usually experience. Because like I said, like a lot of, especially with technology, like I like nowadays, it's so easy for someone to be someone they're not and pretend they have voice synthesizers, video synthesizers. They can make, like, you guys might not be who you are. You know what I mean? I might not be who. It's just one of those things to where now where we are and in this society, and if people feel like they'll get more benefit from pretending to be someone else, they'll do that. And then it's difficult to build lucrative friendships, especially if you're versed and smart enough to understand the deception. You're not going to continue to go back to a place to where you know you're being deceived, especially if you could call it out first. "Hey, you're deceiving me. I dislike that. I would like to be connected to you genuinely. I'd like to maintain a relationship." But they're like, "I'm not deceiving you. I'm this. I'm 20. I'm whatever lie they make up to make it look good. In their mind, it's acceptable because, again, you're not valued enough for the truth. You're not someone I feel like is important. Your energy is important. So I'm going to keep you in my life. And while I continue to lie about who I am, and I'm going to do this in order for me to gain this energy, for me to gain this positivity, for me to gain this insight, for me to have power that I elsewise not have, or I might have to compensate for in some way, shape, or form, even if it's a matter of just being myself, because that's a big compensation for people. Some people are so disconnected with the reality there isn't any from them. Everything is a fantasy. There, one person in this group, one person in this group, one person in this group, and the people that really know them know that they're not any of those people. They're probably something completely horrid, and that's why they create different personas. But the true work isn't actually caring enough about yourself. Caring enough about yourself to say, you know what, I never want to be deceived, so I'm not going to deceive. I dislike when I'm lied to, so I'm not going to lie to people. I'd rather see people for who they are, so I'm going to show people who I am. Instead, they feel like they benefit more from being able to be and hide in different connections. But like you said, real friendships, real relationships are based on integrity, are based on respect, mutual respect, back and forth. You had like my best friend of over 20 years, me and her, I know who she is. I can pitch her in her flesh, you know, she actually has an actuality of her existence. That right there, like that, I've been at my lowest. And I'm disconnected from the world, and I don't want to talk to anyone, especially when I was being abused in my marriage. And I wouldn't have a phone number for her to contact. She's emailing me. Where are you at? What are you doing? How can I hear from you? Blah, 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 blah. Because she cares. She's not saying she's going through something, I'm gonna just let her go through it on her own. No. She's searching for me. She's making sure I'm aware that she's here for me, that no matter what she has going on, I'm not going to be able to affect her life in a negative way. And she would like to.
I think we better have John talk. He looks like he's ready to bust.
Oh, yeah. Hey, go ahead, John.
You had something to say, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm back.
Go ahead. I'll be right.
What I was going to say is, by the subject of friends, a few years ago, when I was healing like a lot of other people, we had my partner's friend, her mother was going through, I can't even remember properly what it was. She had tumors or something like that, and I was focusing on trying to help her best I could. Ended up, she made a miraculous recovery, and I can't remember if she had cancer in the end, or if it was cancer, it wasn't as bad as they thought, and she healed really fast. And basically, anyway, my partner's friend knew that I was helping her because of what happened. She could see it. It was obvious that I was helping her. I helped her a lot. And this person was messaging my partner almost every day, and they were talking, chat messages back and forth. And now this person's happy. She's with a new partner. She's happy now, and we haven't heard from them for years. And to be honest, it does bother my partner a little bit, yes. But I said to her, it doesn't matter. I said, we were there for her when she needed someone, and now she doesn't need anyone, which is okay. But then again, there's another friend of ours. Again, my partner sort of lost touch a bit with her, and we've just recently found out she's got cancer. And so I said to my partner, you need to reach out to her. Just say that, you're there for if she needs her. And she said, well, I don't know if I should. I haven't spoken to her. I said, it doesn't matter. What's important is if you can connect to her now and she feels your friendship is helping, that's more important. Not the fact is you haven't been in touch and she has, and now they're communicating like they've never stopped communicating. And I think it's really special. I think it's really good that my partner's done this, because she's being there for a friend who's got cancer now, and hopefully we'll make a full recovery. We don't know what's going to happen, but the fact is she's there for her. And I think it's important, because all of us have got our own spiritual abilities, to reach out to people who, if they're friends or not, sometimes they're friends you just speak to now and then. I've got a friend who's had cancer as well. I've tried to help him. I don't think I've been able to help him at all for different reasons, but I've tried to. But even just reaching out to him on chat sometimes, I think he loves it, the fact that someone's out there and is willing to talk. So long-term friendships, I haven't got that many. I've got one I've been friends with like a crazy amount of time, like 40 years. But my circle of friends is very small. And to be honest, that's the way I prefer it, because, as Karma said, people use you. They're there, and if you're down or something like that, they just cast you aside. They don't care. They're not real friends. Real friends is extremely rare. Like Karma's friends, you've been friends over 20 years. That's a life. That's rare. That's a great. You should grab onto that with two hands, because that is very rare. And they're the true friends. These ones that are out there and just like I I've had people who want to be friends with me in the past because I was, when I was younger, for whatever reason, not going to go into it, I was a bit of a celebrity, something like that. They're long gone. I don't know where they are now. They don't speak to me now. And I don't really care. Because it's just not what life's about, you know? Life's about just making a difference, I think. Just being yourself and making a difference. Being the best person you can, making a difference. If you can help people, even if you're friends with them just for a month, and then they don't bother you again, you help them and you heal them, they don't bother you again, well, so what? It's on the big picture, it really doesn't really matter. In my view, everyone's got their own view. I'm respectful to everyone's point of view. In my view, it doesn't really matter. It's not important. In my view,
I feel like your relationship with yourself is the most important relationship you will ever have. I feel like who you are within the inside, how you feel about yourself, is going to determine how you treat people. I don't feel like people that are good people hide and present different type of existences. I don't feel like you can put that, because that's deception. So I don't feel like if you're genuinely a good person, you're going to do anything to deceive another, because you understand what deception feels like and what it can do to other people. And so I feel like that's why it's important to nourish ourselves. And sometimes, like now especially, you'll have people who are like millionaires born into it, and they're like 18, 19, 20, and there's no connection. It's just the material world. It's what they're thrown into, and that's what's valued. And then they grow up to be people who only value the material, until there's usually a turn of events. Something unfortunately traumatic usually has to happen in order for someone to experience a life-altering change. Even if it's not traumatic, it has to do with the relationships that they allow in their life. I notice also too, certain people, how you were saying you have a small peer group, only allow for certain type of relationships. I'm one of those people. I have, like I said, my best friend Kia, she's the only person I call a friend. I call people associates, acquaintances, because to be a friend in my mind, and just from my experience, I've called people friends based off of connections, based off of knowing them, based off of being acquainted with them. And as far as calling them when I'm at my lowest, that's not something I don't have that level of trust for them. Something that they've done, something that they've shown me that's not something that I'd be able to communicate with them. And even Kia, just because of the type of friend I am, even when I'm at my lowest, I don't go looking for her. I'm not one of those people that want to sit up on the phone and tell everyone all the bad stuff that's going on with me. Just because I know of us being energy exchanges, I don't feel like my bad should make you feel bad. But a lot of people feel like, and that's where social media comes into a lot. You'll have videos of people crying like, you're so distraught right now. And that to me is manipulation. You're so distraught right now. Life is so horrible and all the situation is going on. You picked up your phone and felt like you had to impose that on everyone in the world. Excuse me. And now you're viral because you're so hot when you cry or something like that. It's one of those things where we're seeking attention and we're seeking validation from outside force and outside source, and we're not even validating ourselves. Like if I got my validation from outside influence, I'd been dead a long time ago, because I had, like how Zach is very positive. When I was that positive and I presented that childlike nature to people and to large groups, I was told that I'm naive, I'm immature. It's funny that as a Caucasian male, no offense to Zach, this is not his fault for the way he's born. He's accepted and embraced. But when I was like I said, I grew up Disney. I lived in Disney World. That was who I was up until 5 years ago, 2018. And then when people started knowing who I was, they did everything they could to tell me who I was insignificant, who I am. And you're not allowed to be like, oh, you're so immature. How dare you be so happy? Your life's a mess. Your life is completely falling apart. Like I was with my ex-husband, our family was homeless at one point so bad. We slept under a bridge one night. When I say no one was there to help us, no one was there to be there, and I was still smiling. I could still have a song. And we only slept under the bridge one time, but we still slept outside under a bridge. And I maintained my smile. And I maintained my positive attitude. Everything's going to work out. And now, not for nothing, it's a rented house, but I rent a 4-bedroom house by myself, my children. I maintain my positivity, but when I was sharing this with other people, they were bringing me down. It wasn't until I disconnected from that negativity that stuff started getting better. That stuff started like because I thought that sharing who I was would make people more positive. But instead, it actually made me more negative because they were telling me I shouldn't be happy. Your life's a mess. You have no right to have joy. Your life is like you're not rich enough to experience the pleasure that you experience. If you were richer, then you'd be able to be happy. You should not be smiling if you have no money.
You're sharing positivity with me all the time. I mean, I know John sees it in you. I mean, you're still sharing positivity.
Well, I'm more reserved. Yeah, I mean, like
it's like I told you before. I mean, everybody who I've introduced you to with just in 3 months, they love you to death. You know what I mean? So, like, with that whole point, I understand what you're saying about them back then, but like, you're still showing your positivity, and you're still.
I'm selectively positive. Well, I mean, I don't even say selectively positive because in every interaction, I'm like this. Especially if you see me out, I'm myself and I'm positive. But I'm selective with my connections because I've been deceived. Because I've had people pretend to be other people and not be who they say they are and just lying to get my energy. I feel like if you're lying to me, it's because you're attempting to deceive me. You're attempting to hurt me. You're attempting to weaken me. Because I laid my life out on the line. Yeah, we slept under a bridge, but God is good. I'm smart and I can do this and da-da-da-da. I had no problem with doing that. And instead of people seeing the bright side of life, they brought every single lesson light, because there's no such thing as darkness, into my play. Like, this is how it should be. This is this. And it kind of makes you feel discouraged. And it puts you in a mental capacity to where you feel incapable of succeeding, or even just you don't feel like succeeding. You don't feel like carrying on. You feel like committing suicide because of other people's thought processes. So there's no choice but to disconnect. You have to leave. Like I was telling you guys about Stationhead. I loved doing Stationhead, and I was on there every day, sometimes 4 and 5 times a day. But when those people started entering my life, I was feeling suicidal. I was feeling like I was insignificant. I was not, my relationship with my kids were being hindered. There was their negativity feeding into my family and seeping through our pores. And it just got to the point to where there was no choice but to disconnect. Unfortunately, despite how much I loved it, and even with my ex-husband, I never saw myself as a divorcee. I always was going to work for my marriage, strive for my marriage. But after 10 years, it got to be too much. The abuse was too much. The disrespect was too much. And just the, like, because he was never very positive. He became way more positive now. But I mean, like, it was always, I was too positive. And I never saw or heard of anything to being too positive, because in this society where people are getting killed because they go inside of a store, or because they're in the wrong area, or worse, they're wearing the wrong color, anything like that, when I'm looking at this type of stuff that goes on, I'm like, how can we have this consume us and it be normal, but then my positivity is unnecessary and unrealistic, or any positivity is unnecessary and unrealistic? So like, I appreciate the positive connections that I've been able to develop and the people that have been able to show me, but where do we get to the point to where like the youth can look up to the older people? Because like I said, everybody that hurt me was older than me. I mean, like, except for my ex-husband, literally every bad occurrence came from people older than me. If it started with my mother, if it started with men, like if it just started, and then there was no one that was younger than me.
Like, you know how you were talking about the disconnect? I personally, like, especially with technology, okay? Everybody calls this stuff social media. There's nothing social about the internet. Okay?
Right.
When you get on Facebook and when you get on all these other social media platforms, you're disconnecting. That's what that is, okay? It's easy to get on those platforms and do like you said. I had a friend of mine, she ended up getting cheated on by her husband or boyfriend. I don't even know if they were married, but she gets on TikTok and freaking videotapes herself crying because he left her for another woman. You know what I mean? And I usually don't do it, but I sent her a message. I said, don't do that. I was like, don't lower yourself to the point where freaking you're letting this guy freaking see that he got you. You know what I mean? Because she's sitting there crying, talking about how he left her and everything, and that's all she's doing is she's feeding him. You know what I mean? She's making. You don't do stuff like that. Now, she's disconnected from reality, from the real world. Everything to her rotates around TikTok and Facebook. Okay, and now you'll see also these people that get on Facebook and they sit there and say, oh, I miss my mom, I miss my dad. They've been dead for 10, 12 years. Yeah, they miss them now, but how much attention did they give them when they were alive? You know what I mean?
The same with people that sacrifice their family, like especially in the entertainment industry.
But
I don't like when they write a song about missing their parents when they're the
how many of them actually spent quality time with their family? You know what I mean? It's like
and valued it.
Now that they're gone, they miss them. You know, I mean,
at least for attention.
And to me, that's where a lot of the disconnect comes from, and like just building positive relationships with people. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about in real life. I'm not talking about getting on the internet and doing all that. It's like we've got a pretty positive relationship. I know I've got a pretty positive relationship with John and you and a few others, but that's very far and few between. I mean, this is pretty much the makeup of what I've got. When I talk to you guys, I talk to you for real, but most of the time on YouTube, I tell everybody, thank you for watching my videos. Appreciate it. Thanks for the comment. Appreciate it. Over and over again. You know what I mean? And that's
a bit robotic type of like a staged automatic response, right?
Well, it's only courtesy, you know. People watch your videos, make a comment, respond to them, and say thank you for watching my video. But it becomes so repetitious. I mean, that's not a friendship. You know?
And then think about how you said that's common courtesy. Okay, let's just go back. Think about how many influencers do not even engage with their audience. Let's talk about that, because how you said this common courtesy to show respect to people that showed you that took the time, because that's time out of their life. That's energy that was shared and exchanged in regards to just engage with your content. What about those people who won't even give? And you guys are great about it. You guys, I love your WLC because you go through the people that rock, they rock, and then you go and you'll watch them, and it makes me more active because I'm not really big on social media just because of the deception that's found on there. Like, I've become bigger on social media as far as communicating with people only because of you. Again, like before, like I said, with Station Head, I made the attempt. People were gross and disgusting, and then I met you, and it was like so then no before I met you, I started doing my social media to where it was just me. Like even now on my shows, I rarely have guests. People get distracted. Like I've attempted to have guests, and I'll be reading spirituality and doing card readings, and they're like, oh, show me your butt, or can you twerk and stuff like that. I don't want to hear this. You're messing up the flow of my show. That'd be like us in the middle of a conspiracy show, and then I just get up and start twerking. You're gonna be like, well, this is strange. It's just like, this is not world history. Better yet, you know what I mean? Let's talk about Phoenician history.
Or me and you doing a history, and somebody comes in and wants to talk about the freaking island of Atlantis.
Well, see, that's kind of history too. But
yeah.
I mean, like, I can see it from both specs. But
it's not you that did it. But
yeah, I know, but I know what you mean. But like with him, with that person in reference, they're always on their track mind, and you have to either be on their time or you're discredited. So I leave that one where it's at. But yeah, pretty much to the extent Atlantis could be deemed history, but it's not Phoenician history.
I think I did like your videos on that But one thing that I do suggest is get somebody to be a moderator, because if you're having that kind of trouble, then you need to get a friend who can moderate your channel for you. So while you're doing your video, you don't get comments like that.
My biggest issue is my time. I go with my vibe. Like, I have my synchronicities, and I know for the, like, today I'm going to do a show. But I'm still debating. Just depends on how it works out with my boys. If it's going to be AM or if it's going to be tonight. Regardless, it's going to be 11. I just have yet to figure out which one it's going to be. And in regards to, it's like, when people don't know when I'm going to show up, it's kind of hard for them to be prepared. It's like, oh, so you're showing? It's like, oh, I'm going to do a show today. It's like, wow, that was short notice. Like how I kind of do with you. You're like, wait, you are doing a show? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to do a show. And then you're like, what time? I'm like, I don't know. It might be 12:12. It might be 12:34. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's like, okay. And it's like, you're going to need some consistency, lady. One thing I respect about you, because you're always there. You show up. If the show says that it's going to be 6 p.e.s.t., it's 6 p.e.s.t. You might get you at 6:02, 6:03, but it's definitely coming. Whereas with me, it's like, yeah, I'm not even going to give you a schedule, because it's a very good chance that I might say, you know what, I'm not feeling this today, or I'm not feeling this right now. Or in very rare scenarios, something comes up, but usually it's literally just me saying, you know what, I'm not doing it. And because I like limit my energy in my share, because like I said, we feed AI. The more we're on social media, we're feeding this monster they call artificial intelligence. That's why it's artificial. It's our intelligence filtered down. It's our intelligence transition into something that they are attempting to make more powerful than us. So how can I consciously consent to you allowing my power to be bestowed on something else while telling me my power is insignificant? Either you will honor my power and its greatness, and then I'd be more inclined to contribute, or your powerless thing that you're attempting to create with my power will remain powerless, or I'll create my own algorithm, and the power that it has will be the stuff that you've been attempting to avoid, just because of the fact that, like you said, social media is not social. We call it social media, but how well do we know the people that we're communicating with? Whereas we'll walk down the street and we'll look past people. I had this happen yesterday. There was a guy that was following us, and the person that was following us, you could tell he wasn't who he was presenting himself to be, as opposed to, what's the matter? No. Okay. And no, she just started talking to me, and I was just like, what's wrong? She's like going off crazy. She doesn't do that. But, okay, baby, you're right. And so when we walked by, I'm like, well, I told the boys, I said, hey, move to the side. Let him walk in front of us. I don't want anyone following us. And you would expect like a hello or how you doing? Because usually if I walk by people, or people walk by me and they look at me and we make eye contact, I'm going to speak. But this guy kind of stuck his nose up and kept on going. And I was like, yeah, kind of why I didn't want you walking behind me. Like, you didn't feel safe to be behind me. And it just, because I feel like, but probably has every social media website ever, and then probably the friendliest person in the world to these people that they have no clue to, and then get around real people, and it's just like not so much as a hi, how are you today? Or whereas I go into Wawa and it's like a welcome party, and I say Wawa because I'm there every day, if not 2 or 3 times a day, and it's like, oh, hey boys, do you want slushies? Come on, I got slushies for you, or how you know, and like, you know what I mean, stuff like that. You got one guy who's like, go get you some cookies, or go get you a banana, go do this, like just giving us stuff, or it's like, you don't have to worry about that. I'm like, oh, I gotta go pay for my coffee. No, it's on the house today. Stuff like that, and those are real connections. Whereas people, like I said, on the internet have bullied me, and they made me feel like, oh my goodness. And I think people hide behind those type of personas. John, what's your experience on social media? Like, do you have an overall positive experience on social media? Or, you know, I mean, I know you said you had
let John talk. Yeah, John will tell you about his positive experiences. Go for it, John.
I've had people I'm friends with on Facebook, and I see them in the street, say hello to them, and they just like blank me. So yes, I'm only on Facebook because I've got channels and pages and stuff on there. I do very little with it. I'm not on any other social Minds and YouTube, and not like anything else otherwise. And I only went on Facebook to keep an eye on my son, my oldest son, back in 2010. Keep an eye on what he was doing. That's the only reason I joined it. And in the early days, I was into the stupid posts and statuses and stuff like that. And I just, as time went on, I thought, what a lot of rubbish. Why am I doing this? So I stopped. I do post, though, funny things on there, funny pictures and stuff like that. I just do it just to cheer people up, you know. But hardly anybody.
Those pictures you shared with us, they were beautiful. By the way, John has, I don't know if all of those pictures you showed us with like the orbs and that's something I feel like it's necessary.
That was from Facebook. That was from groups on Facebook. Yeah, that was, yeah. That was, yeah. But that's one of the positive things about Facebook. But I don't do much of that. And to be honest, if I ended it tomorrow, it wouldn't really bother me too much, you know. It's not really it's not negative for me because I don't really involve myself enough in it, you know. It helps because I also as well, I've got a lot of friends back in my hometown, so I get to know about stuff that happens there from Facebook, which I wouldn't know otherwise because I got no friends. I don't know how to contact with people otherwise from there. Stuff like that, it doesn't really.
If we treated Facebook and social media more like the telephone, to where we engage with the people that it's a little bit more difficult to communicate with, then I feel as though it'd be more effective if we kind of like guarded it for what it is, like to where we're able to talk to our long distance relatives, not to where we're attempting to I think we use it as an outsource. That's why I was saying it's important to develop ourselves. We look for influence from the outside world when we're unsure about our influence within. We're unsure about who we are and what type of person we are, what type of person we like to be. One thing I've noticed is that the less sure a person is of themselves, the more time they engage with social media, or when they're at least attempting to develop. And that's why it's really difficult when there's so many hateful things that circulate social media and the algorithms to where it's presenting like you have to, like the girls look a certain way. It's very seldom you see like, there's not a lot of diversity. Let's just say it like that. Like the girls are pretty a certain standard and the boys are pretty a certain standard. Like they're pretty much this is what you're going to see the most of. Excuse me, this is what you're going to see the most of. And then it makes you question the intentions driven behind it. Like, why would there be such a push for a certain type of image to be upheld if there wasn't some type of alternative?
It goes deeper with John though. John's got death threats and shit. Like,
are you kidding?
That's kind of what I was hoping he would talk about. That's why I got so excited.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
He's literally gotten death threats.
How did you?
Oh yeah, on my YouTube channel, yeah.
What were you posting that?
Well, what it was, I was at my peak. I grew really fast. I mean, just my busiest day, I think I gained 1,000 subs in one day. My busiest day, it was really, really rapid. And I was posting videos every day, and because I can't remember when it was, it's just sort of started from there. People just say, "Oh, your stuff's sort of rubbish. If I was closer to you now, you'd be dead," and stuff like this.
Oh my god!
And at the time, my son was ill, and I wasn't able to post any videos for about a week. And a guy said, "Oh, good. I hope he dies." Stuff like that. It's sort of stuff I've had to put up with.
You can know you really good like high content and not subscribe. Just for anyone listening, you don't really have to threaten anyone's life. You can just not engage with the content they're posting. It's really simple, type of thing. When people do stuff like that to me, I kind of like to do the whole boomerang reverse. First, I did the whole positive towards the negative, but if you know anything about mathematics, when you times a positive and a negative, you're still going to get a negative outcome. So you kind of got to throw it back at them like, hey, look, whatever you wish for me, I hope for you, because it'll either alter them to change what they're wishing for you, remain neutral in what they're wishing for you, or seriously, not even consider putting that type of, gosh, that's horrible. Oh, but based off of what though? Like, I just never, you'd have to be doing something really horrible to my family, and I actively feel you doing these horrible things to my family for me to even think for a second that, that's that's horrible. I just not watch it. I don't like this. Like if I don't like the song and everyone's harping on how horrible the song is, I'm not going to sit there and go, yeah, it's horrible. I mean, like we pretty much got the perspective. The song's horrible. We don't need my 2 cents to chime in. If you dislike something, you don't have to comment on the fact that you dislike it unless it's directly affecting you. You're not forcing people to engage with your content. You're just presenting yourself as you see ideal and allowing it to be who you are. That's insane. Like, that's just...
I don't know what happened there. I got disconnected. I don't know if I went off the screen, but I just I'm back now. But something happened. I just got disconnected.
Yeah, I saw you.
I was able to catch it on my end, so you're good.
Yeah.
It went off, but I was able to get you back on the screen and everything. And I finally realized Karma was on the video, so I got her on there too. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I made myself at least a bit presentable, because like you said, as a host, I'd like to. At first the house was pitch black dark. I put all the lights on and the candles, and it still was like really dark. The sun's out now, so it's better.
Yeah, but yeah, I had Roger remembers like a friend of mine who was moderator in a group that I was in. She was like became a manager on YouTube, helped me out loads. She never got paid for it or anything like that because I couldn't afford it, you know. But she was so good. She deleted the comments, the nasty comments and stuff. So I wouldn't see them, and it helped me to progress as a creator instead of having to worry about all the rubbish I was getting. Because believe you me, if your channels take off really big time, the trolls come hand in hand with it. They're just there. The nasty people, they just arrive. It's almost like they get summoned. Oh, this channel's doing well. You've got to go there now today and try and pee them off or whatever. That's what it seems to be like for me. But I'm prepared for it now. I'm well prepared for it now.
Those people are the most damaged, unfortunately. If anyone that goes out of their way to make someone else's life hard, unfortunately, usually are the ones that require the most assistance to make theirs better. But they're too prideful to admit, hey, I have some trauma. They're too prideful to admit that their parents really never liked them or really never really admired or respect them. Or that they feel like that anyway. Or they'd rather pretend that this is just who I am. But by nature, because if you look at a baby is not like deceptive or demonic or negative in any which way. They're usually smiling, just living their life. So we're not born into a state of negativity. It's created based off of experience. So we have to kind of, and that's one thing that I'm moving towards more so with this journey of oneness that I often emphasize and embark on consistently, is just to show people that your negativity does not have to form your reality. The things that your trauma that you've been through they're tools to be able to be utilized to say, okay, I dislike this. I'm going to treat people the opposite, because instead of treating people how you were treated that make you feel bad and just accepting it as who you are, perhaps do something different, so that way it's not who only you're not, but it's not who other people become. Because if not, we're creating people to be those things that hurt us, and then we're upset with them for being like that. But how many roles and how much do we play in the interaction by not allowing people to have the respect that they deserve, basically by being self-aware, not being in denial, not hiding behind a status, not hiding behind a filter, or hiding behind, a job or anything, just dealing head on with the things that go on in our life. And now where do you see your life taking direction? Like, there are a lot of people that do amazing things, especially as, again, they ascend within their age. Where do you see your life headed? I love, like you said, you're transitioning with your spirituality. You've been developing your station in regards to, like, just being more open with your experiences, your healing capabilities, manifestations, stuff like that, which I think you just posted a video about manifestations, a few days ago? Yeah. Like, where do you, obviously your life is taking off in that direction, and what actually guided that change? And then where do you see it taking you? If you see it taking you anywhere, or are you just going with the flow?
I'm going with the flow. I see. I know my podcast ones started off with experiences, and now they've been going a direction where I'm sort of talking about stuff I don't really know anything about, like manifestations, but I'm sort of being compelled to sort of go that way to hopefully get the audience to become involved and say, yes, I've had that experience and so on. So it's altered already, because the experience side of things I'm not sharing so much now. Now I'm going directions where I'm really being like pushed to sort of try and discuss it, because I don't know anything about it. It's just like snippets of it I sort of know. So it's going a different direction. I think it's a better direction. I think just gonna have to wait and see how it pans out then, really, overall. But
do you worry about misguiding because of lack of experience? Like basically,
I don't worry about it. I
do
get misguided. I have in the past. I do, yeah. Not really worry too much, but I'm sort of aware that I could be misguided. So I've got to be like. But in the past, I had to tell you this: I've made videos, and I know when I'm making them, they're going to be a flop, right? When I was at my peak now. But I also know I've got to make this video because I know the next video that's going to come along is going to be a big hit, and that's exactly what happened. So you've got to embrace the
hills.
You've got to embrace it, yeah.
Yeah, it's
sometimes you know you're going to go down because your next one's going to go up, and that's happened so many times to me that I just accept it and just making it. In the past, as I said, I've made a video and I know it's going to be, no one's going to like it. It's not going to do well, but I know the one behind is going to do well. So I've got to make this video so the one behind it can do well, and that's
so the other one
that.
exists. Yeah. It's like when you look at like someone on a life machine, as long as it's going up and down, that means there's longevity in life. There's presence of life. But when it starts to kind of go like this, regardless of where the flat line is, even if it's a high flat line, it's still a flat line. So you would like it to be an up and down type of thing, so that way you learn how to ride the waves, kind of like the stock market or things like that.
That manifestation video too. I mean, from what I took of it is it was actually a good thing, because to me it means you're questioning. You know what I mean? Even though you don't have any experience in it, you're still curious about it, and that's what viewers want to know too. They want to know what makes you tick, what are you curious about, and you're asking questions as well as putting in your experience. You don't know everything, so
no, I know, that's right, put across. And I think it's important as people out there like think, oh, you've got to be good. It's good and bad is what we all are. We need, like, not to be evil, not saying that, no, but I'll give you an example, right? I've had a gardener here recently. He's done an amazing job on the outside of the garden. I'm supposed to get a photo of a camera of the garden, I forgot, don't know. And we got an apple tree out there, and for years it was surrounded by like nettles, and we couldn't get to the nettles probably because it was so interwoven with the tree. But the tree has been strong and never had any danger of it falling down. Now all the nettles have been removed, so you can say all the badness has been removed, and that tree, the roots don't seem very stable. I don't know if it's going to stay up now, but while we had all the nettles around it, it stayed up fine. Now we removed the badness. The tree, every time we have a strong wind now, the tree looks like it's not going to support itself. It's lost its support system. It's like, basically what I mean. You've got to be, not to say good. You don't aspire to be bad. I'm not saying you are, but sometimes you have to be. You've got to be maybe a little bit negative to be totally positive. It's just sometimes it's yin and yang. Sometimes there's got to be a bit of a balance through. I'm not saying I'm an evil person or because I'm not. But I'm just saying, there's some people out there thinking, oh, I've done a bad thing today. But maybe you did that bad thing because tomorrow you're going to do a good thing. I'm not saying people should aim for that. No, I'm just saying human beings are of that nature, and sometimes, like I say, I made a video. I know it's going to not be a good video, but I'm making it because I know the one following it is going to be a good one. So I don't know if that makes any sense. I can't try to explain what I mean. I don't know.
No, I understand your perspective. I see things a little differently, but I definitely understand where you're coming from and why you would feel that way. Absolutely. And a lot of people feel like you have to have a struggle. You have to have bad stuff. I mean, from personal growth, personal experience, I understand that life can do without those and be a successful and a happy life without those. But I feel like that's kind of like not a cop out, but just kind of just a comfort, you know what I mean? So that way people can kind of accept the fact that that's who they are. And that's where we go back to our original point. Accepting who you are is the first thing. If you know that you're going to do something bad and that's just who you are, that's more important than you pretending to not be that person and then misguiding people, because some people they are able to find peer groups to where just doing stuff bad is not on their level of any type of frequency, and it's fair to be able to come and counter with someone that makes you good, you know what I mean? Being honest about who you are regardless of how it's perceived and what you are, that makes you way better than someone lying about who they are. That makes you better than that person who, Selena, have you guys seen Selena? And her manager was her quote unquote biggest fan and ended up killing her. Well, I'm sure if her manager had displayed the jealousy and the hatred she actually had, Selena could have made a conscious choice, even if it was to deal with her at a distance or keep a closer eye on her. So that would have made her being honest. You know what I mean? That would have made her being honest would have been more of a benefit than her deceiving and pretending to be nice. So I respect that so much, because you just openly admit, like, hey, I'm not going to be good. It's necessary to be this type of person, or in certain cases. And like I said, I feel like that allows people to connect with you on the level that they're willing to receive you, as opposed to hoping or being misguided to think that you're going to be completely positive or you're going to be a completely great person all the time, and then next thing you know, you're going crazy or using a curse word, and I've never heard you curse before. And you're like, well, I use profanity every now and again. So that honesty.
But I will just say, that anagram about the tree was me. I think in the past, me being me now, I'm the tree without the badness around me. That's me now. If I had to put an anagram of where I feel I'm at. And you're right, it is sort of like a crutch where you think, oh, I've got to be bad to be good. Yeah, that is, I agree with that. But that's where I was. And when I used to do videos, I'd make good because I know I make a bad one because I know I make a good one. Now I just make a video. I don't think about if it's going to be good or bad. I just make the video. My viewpoint now is, it is what it is. It gets 100 views, brilliant. If it gets 200 views, even better. If it gets higher, it's excellent again. It doesn't matter. You just do. It's like I said earlier, it's like a building block. Every video is a building block, building towards something I'm not quite sure yet, but I know every video I do is a building block to something. And so yeah, that's how I am now. But how I was in the past.
Now, John, when you say good and bad videos, like when you say bad videos, are you like talking about negative videos or just a bad video in general?
Views wise, I meant, not bad, like negative. No, not that way. Never been that way. No, sorry, I should have explained that.
Engagement, right? Like how the people that are able to receive the message that's being presented. You might get 1,000 people watching one video and then 200 watching the next video. Is that what you're kind of?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, views right. Just going to turn mine off because I'm getting ding dong alerts.
I get what you're saying there. That makes sense. I just wanted to clear that up because I didn't know for sure if you were talking about like positive, negative videos.
Yeah. Sorry, I should explain it. That's what I meant by views wise, not negative. No, I don't. I never made any videos to be positive in the past. For positive or negative, I just made them to make views in the past. Now I make them, I think, to try and bring positivity to people and maybe touch people's lives if I can, that's what it's about now. So no, I just don't think about if it's a good or bad video because I don't really, being honest, I said I don't care. Maybe I don't focus on if it's good or bad. I just focus on putting the message out that I feel I've been led to do, and that's just what I do now. It's gone beyond about caring if it's good or bad, or if it's going to get a lot of views, it's not going to get any views. It's about me doing what I'm led to do, and me being me, and that's what's become about now. It never used to be. In the past, it was about every video had to get 1,000 views, or had to have this, or doing this much from this video. Now it's just about creating, and everyone is like building a block. I'm just there to see where it all ends up now. Keep on doing it and just see where it leads is what it's about now for me.
So is that the fine wine that Carmel was talking about?
That growth.
Are you a fine wine, John?
Yeah, a fine wine that's been left open for a few days, I think.
I was getting ready to say about that earlier. I'm made out of rotten grapes.
Well, rotten oranges is what makes beer fermented. Oranges, so
That's
you wouldn't
great.
eat the orange, but you drink the beer.
I tried to do it with orange peels and sugar, and that stuff doesn't work.
It smells horrible. It's like the worst sour. I don't like beer regardless. Beer is the most disgusting drink I've ever tasted. And I think it's funny because like people would say, oh, you make that orange, like the orange smells so and it's just like bitter, and it's just I don't see how. And they say no, you got to leave it out longer. It's like I don't even want it to where it is right now. Like I don't like sour orange juice or orange juice right after you brush your teeth. It's like the worst tasting stuff, and that would make sense to me as to how beer could come to be produced from it. But what about you, Roger? Where do you see yourself headed? Like, what kind of direction do you see yourself going in regards to content creation, just longevity, just where would you like your future to head if we're going to focus on like manifesting it and stuff?
I mean, being honest with you, I don't even have a clue. I got you in my life, which has been pretty positive. You know what I mean? That's a good thing. John's been around me for a while. I've been kind of backing off on a lot of the people in gaming, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, you know what I mean, but I've been kind of backing away from it. Been keeping contact with Zach. I've been having my issues with mines, which is why I said John's turned into a wild man. That's the first time I'm usually the one that does.
You think he turned into a wild man? He told you. He said he's that good and that bad. He said
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
he's showing you the wild man side.
He's turned into a rebel now. I'm like, whoa, dude, that's my job. I'm the one that makes a big fit and act crazy and stuff.
Checks and balances.
John just comes out and just throws the whammy out there, you know, and I'm like, wow, because I'm not used to it. So, but like for me, when it comes to being a creator, my whole thing is uncertain, you know, because like I'm really getting sick and tired of it, to be honest with you. And I always say that I've gotten sick and tired of YouTube so many times I can't tell you how many times, and I've gotten sick of Facebook, which finally I walked away from it. But
do you feel like those social media platforms, the way that you connect with them or disconnect with them, engage with them in general, have a lot to do with their creators or their owners and stuff like that?
I don't like the atmosphere it brings. Okay, I don't like the environment that it's creating.
Do you feel like that's a reflection of the owner though, or is it a reflection of the community?
I feel like it's a reflection of advertisement. I feel like it's way crazy competition. Competition is good, don't get me wrong. Okay, but when people make videos and it's more important for a person to have more views than it is to actually make something that's substantial and real content, then that's when you know that it's just a bad environment. You know, people are more interested in the analytics than what they are in the actual content they have. You know what I mean? And I have to be careful because here lately I've gotten caught up in that stuff too, and with mines, because you know I went and I paid $60 for a year, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make money off Mines Plus. That's the only time I've ever paid for any kind of service like that. I went on YouTube for free. I did Facebook for free, BitChute, all of them for free. And that's when I paid for it. And then all of a sudden, it was about money. So I need to kind of watch myself on that stuff, you know, because that's.
But that's because you put money in and you were expecting to get more. Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, if you buy a product, you expect it to work. I mean, you put invested in it.
I did double my money.
Oh, okay.
I got $248, but
that's quadrupling it if you only paid.
You're
60.
supposed to. Well, 120. I paid twice.
You paid 2 years. Okay.
They beat me out on the last $60.
But you're gonna earn tenfold more from that anyway, Roger. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna give.
Maybe not through mines, but through other,
avenues. Yeah.
And see,
definitely.
like the whole friendship thing, what we were talking about before. Now, out of that whole situation, what upset me the most was the fact that I talked John into coming into this thing a month before all this crap happened.
I say that all the time. Blame Roger.
I joke. No, it's fine. It's all good, No,
it's
who knows? Mines might change anyway in the future.
Yeah,
it might change because Mines Plus has gone all to pot now, completely since likes of yourself and me have pretty much hardly ever posted now.
Yeah.
So
people are more money
have to change,
than they are actual quality driven. People care more about money. It's more quantity over quality, and that's just in general, not just mines, but like especially social media. We just want you to watch. We don't care if it's positive. There was I think I told you, Bill Ackman or something like that. He was begging Zuckerberg and Musk to stop pushing hate in order for you to get views and for you to make money. And they're just like, no, I'm gonna keep doing it. I went on, like I said, my spirituality page, and when I logged in, it was a girl bending over, and you could see her entire vagina and her entire behind, and I'm like, what in the algorithm hell? Because how does this go together? It's literally, you know what I mean? I have my cards are literally sitting right next to me. I have my energy cards, have my candles are here. Today's red candle energy, that's further away. And it's that's what I'm posting on my page. Where does the robot behind the scenes feel like I would like to see someone's vagina? And it was literally her vagina. It wasn't it was just anything left to the imagination. And I'm just why are you doing this? I got rid of my entertainment pages, anything with music. Why are you doing this? It's someone evil is really, and I mean, if that's who they choose to be, that's fine. I disassociate with evil. If you show me evil, I don't want to help you, because it's you don't have to do that. If I'm showing, kind of read the room type of thing. If I'm not showing you that I'm interested in anyone's vagina, you should not be showing me anyone's vagina.
See, for me, I think that's a part of the issue I have with YouTube too, because this stuff, they started doing that stuff with politics too. I have a gaming channel, or I have a gaming channel. Why the heck am I getting freaking political
Trump and GOP and
political advertisements on my freaking gaming?
It's
I will say now, because you've both been on Facebook before, I think you said. I know Roger. I had Karma said she was on it in the past. Facebook
about
now,
8 years ago.
Facebook now has got Facebook videos on their homepage, And they've got, honestly, you're scrolling down and you've got like, it's going like, I think TikTok is like it, I think a bit. Scantily clad women on your homepage, and they're just there. You can click on the videos and watch them. You think, what the hell? It
You
was never
can't
like
even
this when
be
you
around the
started.
kids, right? It's
Yeah.
like I'm like hiding my phone, like and my babies, they sit under me all day.
Yeah, exactly. I
Like,
never
oh
like
my
that when I
God,
started.
they don't see me doing this, and they're not over sexualized. Like my kids, they come in, they hit the door. First thing you'll hear us talking if we're walking outside. I can't wait to go home and take my clothes off. In a different type of environment, that sounds crazy, but just knowing who we are, like even before here, I had to throw on the shirt because like I had like bra and like panties and like, but that they don't look at me like, oh, mommy's naked or mommy, like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not. We don't do the over sexualization, but when it's presented, especially to our youth, our babies, it's crazy to me because it's like that's the mentality they get in, and that's why boys will over sexualize girls and girls over sexualize themselves for that attention. But it's sickening when people that have control are forcing it on you. It's like, like if that's what you're into, let that be your algorithm. But I feel like my followers, the accounts that I follow and my content should be a reflection of the stuff that I see. Like you said, you're with gaming, Roger, you should see different people doing different type of gaming stuff. It should be different new games that you may not have engaged with. Oh, you like Zelda? Maybe you should play this game, or you like this, you should do this. Those are the type of suggestions that actually make sense. I don't see where I'm doing energy card readings that someone's vagina, like where am I giving off that I want to see someone's vagina, or I want my, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of, and that's that whole, the trauma on the inside. There obviously some healing that needs to be done. I think it
also has, they've been talking about having that voice, what do they call that, where they freaking, they listen to voice conversations and stuff. And if you say something, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, Facebook now, if you post something and it's a fact checker comes along straight and, oh, this isn't true, they're like a shot if you post something and it's against their terms and conditions, and yet they'll have videos and pictures of scantily clad women and men, I suppose, if you're on there, and they don't bat an eyelid. It's all wrong, isn't it?
Twitter is full of underage girls, half naked, little Asian girls. They'll be like 12, 13, and like have their little picture, and I'm just like, oh, this is gross, because it's like you can tell they're young, and you can tell like whoever's engaging with this and is like pushing it onto the public is attempting to create some type of agenda, because I don't condone children being over sexualized. I don't care how old she looks, because that's the favorite line. She doesn't look like she's 16. It's like, yeah, but she is. So it's like, I don't think that because she looks older, she should be pushed onto us as being older, because that creates, like I said, a certain type of stigmas and stigmatism, and like people, like their mentality is warped because now that's what they're looking for. And like, and then, or you have my babies who, oh, she looks like me. Oh, she's my age. And so now they're looking for little girls that look like that. And like, their homegirls, like they play basketball. And even there's this one little girl that plays basketball with my son. Her mom brings her to the games and her shorts are like riding up her crotch. You could get basketball shorts, but they don't get her the basketball shorts. They have her in biker shorts where her whole, like the shorts are like, they look like panties, and she's out there. And I'm like, why would you allow your child to come dressed like that? Well, how she dressed shouldn't be any type of look. But you're right. No one should be concerned. But the fact that these predators, and I deem whoever's pushing this type of agenda and this type of content, they're predators. Like, there's no reason to push over-sexualized content in any form or matter, whether it's Facebook, TikTok. There's no reason to push it unless you're a predator. Like, this is what you're engaging with, so you're going to make it to where this is the normalcy. Let me make it to where this is normal. I want you to feel like this type of stuff is what's necessary, and it's not. There's people like you that make great positive content. There's people like Roger who makes, like, Roger's content is informative. You have history, like stuff like, what's wrong with pushing information? What's wrong with pushing learning? But we don't see that. And I feel like, and I mean, and that, unfortunately, those people are older. Like Elon Musk is like almost 60, and then, or I don't know, 50 something, 60. It's old enough to not be pushing this to where fellow billionaires are begging him to stop. And then even with Zuckerberg, I think he's like 40 almost, 40 or maybe late 30s or something. And it's just like, why would you be pushing this content? Why would you be allowing other people to push this content? How does that not come into and then, you know, because they have the money, there's no one on a larger scale saying, oh, you guys are predators. No one are coming in and looking at them as pedophiles. But for me, I feel like if you're 60 and you're pushing like 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, that's like almost a 40-year gap. Something's not right, because when that child was a newborn, were you like Googling them? Like, oh, I can't wait to see your crotch when you become 18. And it's like, whoa. Like, what were you thinking when you were babysitting?
It's like porn, okay? I'm 50 years old, and I'll tell you right now, I watch porn, okay? But the thing of it is like freaking for a 50-year-old man, 50-year-old man doesn't want to sit and look at a freaking 50, 60-year-old woman, okay? I mean, sorry, it's just not gonna happen. Like, and
shoot, my mom's
what are you
50.
What are you considering young? Because like Julianne's in her 40s, okay? She's a porn star. She's still 10 years younger than I am. That means I was 10 years old when she was born, you know what I mean?
But see, it's different. Like,
no, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
a 50-year-old compared to a 60-year-old and a 20-year-old, that's...
Like, you're talking about the topic being over the hill, man, you know? I'll give any young man a freaking run for his money when it comes to freaking potency, okay? I'm still as good today as what I was when I was 30 years old.
And you get young boys who take Viagra, like, yeah, I know 20-year-olds who have ED.
You know, that's my whole point, you know what I mean? And, when it comes to, like, well, for me, first of all, like, back in the day, man, people did things a little bit different, you know what I mean? You didn't allow your daughters...
kids were sold at 14 to be a wife.
No, I'm saying, like, back when I was younger, you didn't allow your daughters to run around dressed crazy, and then, like, you know what I mean? It's like freaking they wore decent clothes and stuff like that. And most people who freaking did let their kids run around like that were probably loose. Most of them did. And don't get me wrong, I knew a girl, man, had like 3 kids before she was 16. You know what I mean? But we also didn't disrespect her and treat her bad because of it, you know what I mean? And today, now, it's like everybody's into this whole thing of where you have to be politically correct, or you have to freaking shun people because of their sexuality, you know what I mean?
I doubt it. You're right. Are you kidding me? Not
they do it all the time. These liberal feminists, okay, they're going to colleges and teaching people that freaking, you know, that you can't freaking be basically a slut, you know what I mean? They're against slut shaming, but then they want to freaking choose what a slut is and what a slut isn't, you know what I mean? So back when I was younger, you just didn't do that to people. You treated them with respect no matter what. And it wasn't even a conversation piece, you know what I mean? If somebody was that way, then that was just the way they were, and you kept
But being a slut in your own personal, and that's what the whole damage in the social media is. Because if you want to engage with multiple partners, that's on you. If you want to post that you engage with multiple partners, again, on you. But when I have nothing to do with this type of lifestyle, and you're in a place of control, and you're pushing this lifestyle on me, you're attempting to influence me in a way that is negative for my lifestyle.
That's what I'm saying that crosses the line, is like whenever you put that stuff in people's face and stuff, That's a completely different thing. Now, back
If
when
you're
we were
searching
back
for
when
porn,
we
you're
were
gonna find
younger,
porn.
we didn't have this internet stuff. You know what I mean? And I was like, this isn't a social media platform thing. Social, there's nothing social about it. People are disconnected. In other words, in real life, you don't walk around like that in your neighborhood, dress like that, unless frickin' you've been disconnected in some way, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing goes on Twitter. Why is a little Oriental girl dressing up like a cheerleader and acting like a frickin' nut? You know what I mean?
I mean, and if that's and look, they'll tell you, they're like, yeah, this is me getting ready just to post on social media, to sit in my room and post on social media all day. They have what they call get ready with me, and their get ready with me's are really like, I'm going to dress like this in order for me to gain content. And they'll tell you like me off of social media, and it'll be who they really are, like they're in their classes and they're reading their books, and then me on social media and they have like the craziest, most revealing outfit. I don't like to, because to me slutty is when you're like, it's an action more than it's a way you dress type of thing. Because I've been known to wear something that's revealing, but I'm conscious about what I'm presenting because of the influence that what we do has just in its longevity. Like I said, if you go on a porn site, you expect to find your porn. You're going actively somewhere to look for a certain type of content. If I go to a coffee shop, I expect to get coffee. If when I go to this coffee shop, you tell me all you have are smoothies, I'm like, but you're a coffee shop, but all I have is smoothies. It's like, but it says coffee on here. Yeah, I know. That's just to get people in here. I want, you know what I mean? We only sell smoothies. So it's the same thing. If I go on social media and I say, this is the stuff I'm into, I like spirituality.
You should be ashamed of yourself for going to a coffee shop, man. Seriously.
Well, I mean, Wawa is my coffee shop. So
real coffee is served in the kitchen. You go in there and you put 3 scoops.
I was using an example. I was using coffee as an example. Like I said, when I go on Twitter,
I know you're a coffee shop person too.
It actually Wawa person.
I'm
not a coffee
gonna have to leave in about 3 minutes. I gotta go and have something to eat before I go to school.
Yeah, I gotta go too.
Yeah, and I had you heard my school alarms for my boys.
Yeah, I just want to give a 3-minute warning. So.
But I appreciate you guys. I guess we're going to get ready to wrap things up. We just shared some different type of perspectives, different type of insights. Pretty much the gist of what the show is going to be. Hopefully we can get more people involved. You can tell us your experiences. Different age groups are more than welcome. We would like to see viewpoints from all standings in order for us to come to a generalized correlation. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in and joining us. And everyone have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.